go.
And I got a call from Herbie Hancock, and I'm like, oh my God, Herbie Hancock. Because I'd watched him with Miles, and I remember hitchhiking and listening to these guys, and I loved all, and that band was incredible. And so Herbie called me and said, man, when you come back, I'd like to play with you, So I said, great. So I got back and played with him, and we played a minute. He said, that's it, you're in, that's it.
Okay, hold on. How do you get a call from Herbie Hancock when you're in Japan in the 70s?
I don't know, I did. I got a call from Herbie in the 70s.
Wow.
In Japan.
And you had never played with him before?
Never played with him. I never really met Herbie.
Wow.
I've been around him, but I never really met him. But, I was hanging with Billy a lot, but I never really, I never really met him.
So when you went and finally came home from the tour and you met up with him, was that San Francisco?
Still here. He has a place near Beverly Hills.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, I live a block away from him, a block west of him now.
Nice.
So, so we went, he's in the same house, which is amazing.
That's crazy.
So we played there, and that was it, so.
Do you remember what you played that first time?
I have no idea.
Yeah, but it definitely wasn't anything that ended up being on Headhunters.
No, it wasn't a song or anything.
Yeah.
No, we probably just jammed. We probably went through a lot of different things, and I can't remember what we played. I don't think we played a song. We just were creating.
Did he tell you who else was going to be in the ensemble?
Nobody else was in the band yet.
It was just okay. So Headhunters started with you and Herbie.
As far as I knew, yeah. That's it. And then we started having bass players play, and Benny Maupin was someone. All of a sudden, Benny was there.
Because Benny had already been playing with Herbie.
But at that point, I had no idea. But it ended up being Benny, and then Paul, after a couple of bass players, and then Bill Summers.
So there was a kind of like bass player audition until it finally landed on Paul Jackson.
To Paul, yeah. And actually, Bill Summers was in before, and Bill recommended Paul.
Wow.
And I don't think I was really that excited about having a percussionist in the band, because most of those guys at the time were bangers and shakers.
Yeah.
That's not nice to say.
It hadn't evolved fully.
Bangers and shakers and showy. So that's terrible, man. I love you guys now. But Bill was an extremely musicologist, and had a good groove, somewhat like Ralph McDonald always played with grooves,
Right.
So Bill was tasty, and I learned a lot playing with him,
Yeah. I mean, Bill had such a massive impact on that album.
And
completely different than the drums that you're providing.
Right. Ethnomusicologist. He understands,
Yeah.
He understands the Cuban, the religious ceremonies and all that. So he's very well studied, and I learned a lot from him.
Right.
It was great.
So when you guys start making the Headhunters album, where did it start?
Well, I think we started at Herbie's, and we were just rehearsing, just playing.
At the house?
Yeah, just playing. We weren't playing any songs or anything yet. We were just playing. So it turned out that we were just writing at the point. We'd get an idea, we'd just work on that idea. Oh, yeah, let's do that, and we'd do that. And so it was kind of a group situation, And that's the way it went down. We just rehearsed. Then we did a gig at the Concerts by the Sea. And then we went to San Francisco, and we did a gig at a little place in Marin County. And then we went in the studio and recorded.
So those are like the warm-up for for the record.
Right.
Wow. Was it the Headhunters at the time when you were doing those gigs before the album, or when did the brand, the Headhunters, come?
I think that came afterwards.
It came after, yeah.
Yeah, I think that came afterwards, because as soon as I was really heavily into studio work at the time, and I remember as soon as we finished the record, I'd held things off, and I'd say, "Well, I'm busy on that day," and so I just got my car and drove back down to San Francisco, just go back down to LA, and started working again.
Wow.
Figured I just did the sessions, and that's good. Next,
yeah. You're being you're like the top call session guy at the time.
One of the guy, and then Herbie called me to the record and said, "Hey man, listen, we're going on tour. I'm taking the band on tour. You guys, it's going to be this, and then I had to. I'm nervous as heck, because I'm thinking I'm not going on tour.
Well, okay, so I'm assuming when Headhunters comes out, that must have changed the game for you.
It changed the game for me and the jazz idiom, but as far as everything else, it's straight ahead. I'm still doing that stuff,
right?
The regular stuff. So it didn't ruin it. But the sad part was that I didn't go out much, so guys didn't see me. I got so many notes from people that said, "I went to the concert to see you, and it wasn't you." And I was very, very disappointed.
Wow.
And I said, "Man, I'm so sorry,"
Okay, so I was going to ask that later, but so Headhunters comes out. It becomes the #1 jazz album of all time, sells 1 million copies, which that was unprecedented.
Right.
And Herbie wants to go on tour. He hits you up, says, come on, we're going to tour this. And you were like, I don't want to tour.
I can't tour,
And that's why you weren't in the Headhunters live ensemble.
Because I didn't want to lose my studio stuff because to tell you, that really was my dream, you know? And to think that I was playing with the best musicians on the planet and playing any kind of music and having that standard all the time. You walk in, you don't know what you're going to play.
Yeah.
And you got to nail it.
Yeah.
You know, and they feel that whole orchestra together, everyone doing their part. And I've been so proud to have been accepted in that fraternity back in the day. And it was something that I wanted to do, and to be, even at that point, I was thinking about longevity, and I loved it. Wow. I miss it now because I don't do as much, you know.
Right.
I'll do some things here and there, a couple things with John Williams, Star Wars, but other than that, not as much stuff. And there's not as many dates. I was here during the golden age of recording, and there was TV studio, there was TV shows, there was TV live shows. I did the Sonny and Cher show on live. I did another show where I was live on camera. And then you're doing the videos, then you're doing commercials, then I did Tommy the Rock Opera, and I did some other $6,000 a Mule, did live that, going to that. And then you're doing records. I mean, Steels and Crawford. I can't even name all the records I did, but
you were
just
constantly going.
Yeah, every day.
Was that hard for you to make that decision because I mean, touring with Herbie Hancock, doing the Headhunters, that's not exactly like,
no,
this like liver. Bad touring. This is good touring. This is like you on a pedestal. Like, of course, because you're already doing all the session work, which is more behind the scenes. But like, so was that hard for you to be like, I actually don't want to tour. I want to just keep this going?
It tormented me.
Yeah.
It pained me to have to say that, and it pained me because I was disappointing Herbie and other guys, because we were going to form a group, and it was going to be a situation business-wise, and so it really troubled me a lot. But then I knew I made the correct decision in my heart, so I got over it after a while, and Herbie and I came back together. We did a TV show after that, and we did a few things after that, and he played on a few of my records, so the love is still there because I approached my stuff with him with amazing amount of love and concern and giving every single ounce of my heart and soul to the music and to him, so that's where it came from. It really, really was to me.
So to go back to the session, the Headhunter session, so, okay, Chameleon. How did Chameleon come about? Did Herbie play you the synth line? You just started grooving? How did this come about?
We're playing, and Paul kind of came up with that bass line, if I remember correctly. It was something from Paul, and my drum part was based on what he was playing.
Mm-hmm.
And I also remember there was a record out at the time called Fence Walk by Mandrill, I think, that kind of had almost the same kind of groove. So my groove was based on what his bass line was.
Yeah.
So that's where it came from. And everything else we just filled in. We just figured it out. You sit down and start playing.
I mean, because every song on that album goes, right?
Oh, yeah.
Takes you on a journey.
Yeah.
So like, what about from the A section to the B section, the C section? How did that come about?
There were little cues in the music that would lead you when he's going to go.
Yeah.
And he played a little thing that we knew that next bar you're going to go to that next second.
Right.
And we rehearsed it, so we knew what it was like, and we played it live a couple of times, so we knew where it was going. And it was just cues. Nobody standing there saying, okay, let it be. They didn't have to do that,
Did you know at the time when you were cutting it, like, that this is going to have such a massive impact for the next 50 years?
No, I didn't know. No. I just knew that it felt good. It was honest music, and everybody put their heart and soul in it. It was so much energy, good energy. And Herbie was an amazing musician. And I think we were all grateful and thankful to be in his presence because he never plays anything the same way twice. So that keeps it interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
Doesn't like to rehearse that much.
So was there a couple takes of Chameleon?
I'm sure there were, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure there were.
Any edits?
I think there was an edit because from the beginning to the end, it gets not a little faster, I think a lot faster.
Yeah.
I believe that there was an edit. I never asked Herbie about it, but it was what it was.
Right.
But I always would hear it like that because it moved. But you know what? Music sometimes moves, and that's what it was at the time.
It sounds like there's an edit, but it sounds like artistic, like
Yeah.
it fits. The edit fits.
I think there was an edit.
Yeah.
I believe there was an edit.
So was
but
it
we
really?
We did play long.
Yeah.
We played long. I think there were only 4 songs on the whole side.
I know.
Yeah, so we were playing like we're in a club, you know. Here we go.
It's like a 50-minute album.
Yeah, right.
4 songs. Yeah.
Right.
It's so great. It's full. You never think about it unless you like analyze, like, oh yeah, because I'm sure. I mean, in the vinyl days, you're just like side A, side B. That is full. That record is max.
Well, you know, and I did receive a lot of acclaim and a lot of admiration from people and respect, and it's funny. We just a couple of months ago we did a 50th anniversary of this.
Yeah, at the Hollywood Bowl.
I don't know if you want to talk about it, but
of course,
there were 20,000 people there to hear this music again.
Yeah,
and when they called me that we're going to do it, I start going into the shed to listen to the music and try and get as close as I could to the feel because I played the song, I don't know, lots of times in lots of different ways. As a matter of fact, I have a record called Chameleon.
Yes.
And I named my band the Chameleon Band.
Yes.
Because that's actually me. That's my heart and soul. I'm a chameleon. I play all kinds of music, any kind of music.
The drummer that can play it all.
So that's why I called my band the Chameleon Band. But I started rehearsing that and trying to remember what I played on those songs. And it was freaking me out because I couldn't play it the same way I was playing it then.
Especially like Sly comes up, right?
and you know what, man?
It's fast.
I could play it all as fast.
Yeah.
But I was trying to play a lot of the same stuff, and it wasn't happening.
Yes.
You know, I could play the basic beats and stuff, but then getting in and around like that. And it's funny because every time I hear Chameleon, I hear what I was trying to do. Every time you're playing, I was trying to get to here, and now I've gone past that. I'm at a whole nother place now.
Yes.
So I was going back to try and capture that, and it was difficult. And then it finally came to me because I was struggling so much internally. I said, you know, you play the heads, play that stuff, but then after that, let it go.
Yeah.
Play what's going on now in your heart.
Yes.
And so that's how I came to make peace with it. But I practiced every day for you know, to get to that point again with the music, and it was fun. And then when I got there, it was like, you didn't have to do all that.
Well, I mean, you were prepared then.
Yeah, I was prepared.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, man. What was Herbie like at the time in his creative process?
Extremely fertile.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
You know, he changed jazz piano.
Yeah.
You know, and what he did with Miles was unbelievable. I mean, such an extension from Bill Evans. Taking the harmonic thing and just going into, I had such an ear. And so he was just so creative, man. And we were fortunate to be around him and go through that whole process of getting to the next phase of where he wanted to go.
Yes.
As you can see, even now, he's just always branching out. So Chameleon, all the records he's had and all the different things he's done and film scores and all that stuff. So
yes,
very, very, very extremely musical. And at the time, it's just ideas are just flying from everywhere.
Wow, I can only imagine.
Yeah, so
speaking of ideas, so Watermelon Man, how does that come together? Is Bill Summers just like grab a bottle and you guys start jamming? Like what happens?
I had a dream, first of all. I took it to Herbie. I want to go back and play one of the old tunes. I got this idea for an arrangement. He says, okay, let's try it. And we, you know, I didn't write it out. Just here it is. That's kind of saying, here's what we're going to do.
Because that was on Herbie's first album, right?
It was on the Chameleon record.
Yeah.
It was on his first record, yeah.
Yes.
So he loved it, and we started doing it. And Bill had been doing this Hindu whistle thing. We hadn't had it used anywhere, but I learned that from him. He was always messing around with stuff. So, hey, man, we should do that at the beginning of the record, you know? And he said, absolutely. So that's how that came about, you know? Bill was always doing things. He was playing stuff with Shaker Rays and this and that and just different things. So it was a perfect introduction to that song. And then Herbie, I was surprised when the record came out and he gave me credit for doing the arrangement and everything, which was wonderful of him. And then I think another song I took in called Shiftless Shuffle.
Mm-hmm.
And that one I started at home.
Yep.
And I brought that in, and I was fortunate enough to to end up doing that. And up until that point, I'd never thought about being an artist.
Right.
I just wanted to be in the background and make records and make music. That was my life.
Go with Elmo. 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 This is the stuff, man.